Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to take a couple minutes once again to respond to some comments left on some of my recent videos. And here, comment coming in from Zach George related to the video I put out called How to Get Two Dogs to Relax Next to Each Other in a Crate. And Hildegard pictured here, and Brody here for service dog training. And if you watch this video, it's fairly short. Showing again, I talk about certain tools, again, in terms of the remote collar, how certain tools are used through the system of training. Remote collar is used as not a primary tool, as a secondary tool by way of the crate. And for dogs that, again, become very reactive, okay, inside the crate. Crate represents control. So again, you ever wonder why it is that your dog gets very upset and does not want to go in the crate? I encourage you to connect some dots in terms of the relationship itself. And what you'll discover is you're experiencing a relationship problem, okay? And so the dog's basically saying, well, this doesn't make any sense. You're trying to control me. I'm in control of basically you and everything around you, okay? So, but again, this goes into the thing about appearance. I talk about how control will offer up the appearance of a balanced dog. This is where that statement comes from. You know, my dog is pretty good accept, okay? The accept part is the deceptive nature of appearances, just like how a selfish child can look well behaved as they're playing their video games, doing what they want to do. But consider the moments when truth is revealed, okay, by way of a demand, by way of parental influence happening, certain moments where the attitude of that child is going to get revealed, versus engaging in, bribery, accommodation, negotiation, this permissive type of, of approach. And so here, in terms of this video I put out showing how to deal with this type of issue, understand that, everything, aligns through the method itself. So, when I talk about things making sense, once you start to interact with your dog the way that I show, influence and control, having that type of, conversation, okay, that's really how you want to see it. Dogs making sense of the interactions based on what they represent, how they connect together, the role of influence being dialed into the relationship, the dog's state of mind, and then that aligns with the crate, okay? And the dog is can be very still reactive to the crate. Then the tool that you're using, the remote collar, is going to make sense, okay? The dog's going to be agreeable to that. So here, what I'm doing here with, again, this is Hildegard's been very, very reactive to other dogs in the past. So being proactive in the way that we're, as they go into the crate, right side by side, that way. Again, you don't want an outburst. So what you're doing is you're being proactive in the way that you're intercepting, okay? How they're, fixate or starting to look towards each other, connect that way. You're preempting that, because of based on the current state of the relationship. So the focus will draw to each individual owner. In fact, interesting, when we're standing outside the crates, both dogs, each dog, Brody's looking towards me, and Hildegard is looking towards Christian, as he was, again, using the remote collar, but very little, okay? In fact, most times, if you have to use if you have to use stem, it's at a very low level, and typically you just 90% of the time you're just using the vibration, okay, on the collar. Again, I talk about the difference between, what's happening in the crate. So if a dog, and this can happen, dog's trying to really push forward hard, has their teeth in that crate, trying to, almost like break a tooth off, you're going to have to use the shock a little bit, okay, to center that dog, okay? But again, it's not about the remote collar that way, because again, it's about everything making sense, okay, through the relationship, through the method itself. So this aligns through the collars. But here's the thing, okay, when these permissive bribery-based trainers watch any of my content, of course they're going to go crazy, okay? Understand that, because it's totally superficial. What they're doing is there's no depth, there's no working through a relationship problem the right way. It's all bribery, permissive type stuff going on. And these are the same individuals and this is the agenda, are very, and this is the kind of dirty secret of all of it, are very quick to blame the dogs. They won't even work with certain dogs. In fact, it's interesting when, years ago, Fox News came down to interview me about a dog bite situation involving a pit bull in Orlando. It wasn't a situation I was even involved with. They just wanted my, information to interview me. Off camera, okay, the person said she called several dog training places in the area and around, and many of these trainers wouldn't even touch pit bulls. They don't even work with certain dogs. See, and this is the thing people don't realize, that this is the thing, almost like they know their limitations. Okay, and so what they're saying on social media, doesn't line up, because it's once you, again, the ethics of this stuff, these trainers aren't being honest with the public. And so, but again, I work with all dogs. I mean, I work with the worst of the worst. So here's so the comment here, Zach George, this is beyond cringe, and it's a shame these dogs have to suffer. See all the, again, suffer, you look at words, all the inflammatory language, rhetoric, incompetence, right? But go over to his page, okay, and you're gonna see him just going right off the ideological, down the ideological cliff. Look at all the recent stuff he's putting out. So like I talk about, when the truth is subjective, right? When people are invested in this superficial idea of things, when there's no, acknowledgement as to what represents a process. And this relates to balance trainers and force-free trainers. Like, sooner or later, anything goes. I mean, this is what's happened in the dog training world. So you're seeing the fact that Zach George has even survived, okay, this long. And now look at the stuff he's putting out, really is a testimony to the fact of what even balanced dog training represents. They can't shut it down. They can't respond to it because they're in agreement, okay, with the source of the problem. So they're compromised. And so, and really this other comment that came in right after from a balanced trainer speaks to that. This balanced dog trainer, the dog in the left crate is showing such signs of fear, not a healthy thing. I use the e-collar, right? E-collar, balanced trainer. But not like this and for this. So this is the thing, see, right? So this balance trainer in agreement with Zach George, right? Buddying up to him, and because that's how it works, right? Trying to have balanced dog trainers, trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're walking the fence with this ideology. They're playing both sides of it, and they're compromised, and they're caught in this trap they can't get out of. So that's why they're losing tools, they're losing the war, and things are getting worse and worse and worse. They can't stop it, they can't push back on it. I do, because what I say very clear about training's not a learning-based exercise. So when you say that, right, that does it right there. But that's what it is. So if you look at all the red flags in the dog training world, you'll start to see it. It's it's gotten to this level. So all to say that, I'll go back to the video. Yeah, if you want to understand how to overcome certain issues with dogs, how to align things properly. I put out some really couple good videos about how to trim your dog's nails for a dog that is say very, very reactive, especially. So you have to break the exercise down and kind of piecemeal it as you go. But this system training is an original source system. Okay, I wrote a book back years ago. Okay, called The Mind and Body Connection, going into Pavlov and Skinner, showing that the social aspect of the relationship was never studied. And since that time, right back 1926, look at the problems. It hasn't stopped. It's just like on a slow boil, and this is where we're at. So I show what training is. You're not going to hear trainers talk the way I talk, because balanced dog trainers can't talk the way I talk. They can't even admit there's a problem. I mean, imagine that. They can't even confront it. And so this is example. They just keep playing both sides of the fence, and they don't like the fact that force-free trainers are coming after them. But here's an example where you hear this comment, right? Just the buddying up to say, oh, well, I don't do it like, so it's just a compromise. That's all it is, just constant compromise. So anyway, check out my website, lots of great information. If you have questions, contact me. Thanks for watching.